Ever get caught off guard?
Yeah.
Like in a meeting and someone asks a question you weren't expecting? Or maybe a problem pops up and you need a solution like right away.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean. Those moments where you feel like you're in the spotlight and everyone's waiting for you to say something brilliant.
Exactly. It can be so stressful. So today we're going to do a deep dive into thinking fast and communicating smarter. How to handle those situations with grace and confidence.
It's interesting because we often think of intelligence as, like something you're born with,
Right.
but being able to think fast and communicate well under pressure, those are skills you can actually develop.
Really. So it's not about being like a naturally quick thinker.
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's about clarity and strategy. Let me give you an example. Imagine a grandmaster playing speed chess.
Right.
They're not just making random moves, they're analyzing the board really fast, anticipating their opponent and choosing the best move.
So they're thinking strategically, even though they have limited time.
Exactly. And it's the same in real life. When we're faced with a challenging situation, we need to quickly assess what's going on and respond in a way that makes sense.
So instead of panicking, we need to pause and think strategically.
Exactly. And that's where smart communication comes in. It's all about getting your message across in a way that people understand. Think about a time when you explain something and the other person just totally missed the point.
Oh, all the time. It's so frustrating.
Right. So smart communication is about preventing that. It's about clarity, being concise, and tailoring your message to your audience. It's kind of like the difference between sending a long, rambling email that gets ignored and a short, concise message that gets action.
So it's not just about being a smooth talker. It's about being clear and effective.
Exactly. Tone, body language, how you structure your message, it all matters.
Yeah.
Even the same words can have a completely different impact depending on how they're delivered.
It's like the difference between someone who mumbles nervously during a presentation and someone who commands the room with confidence, even if they're basically saying the same thing.
Exactly. Now let's dive into some specific things you can try to boost these skills. And the first one might surprise you. Active listening.
Wait, listening, I thought we were talking about thinking faster.
I know, right? But here's the thing. Really listening to someone, like beyond just their words, it gives you so much information. Their tone, their body language, the little cues they give, all of that helps you craft a much more impactful response.
So it's like gathering intelligence before you go on a mission. Active listening gives you the information you need to respond effectively.
Precisely. Another powerful technique is to put yourself in situations that require quick thinking.
So like signing up for improv comedy classes, that sounds terrifying.
Haha, it could be fun. But there are gentler ways to start. Engage in debates, even just casual ones with friends, or volunteer to give presentations at work. The more you practice thinking on your feet, the more comfortable you'll become.
So it's like anything else. The more you do it, the easier it gets. Okay, so active listening and seeking out opportunities to think on our feet. What else can we try?
This one might seem obvious, but being clear and concise is so important. Before you speak, take a moment to think about what you want to say and how to express it in the most effective way. Imagine you're writing a tweet. You only have a limited number of characters to make an impact.
That's a great analogy. No rambling, just get straight to the point.
Right, and this next one might surprise you. Don't be afraid to pause before you speak.
Wouldn't that make me look unsure of myself?
Actually, no. Pausing gives you a moment to collect your thoughts, choose your words carefully, and project confidence. It shows you're not just blurting out the first thing that comes to mind.
So it's like taking a strategic pause, like a golfer lining up the perfect shot. It demonstrates control rather than hesitation.
Exactly. Now, another powerful tool is visualization.
Visualization, like picturing myself doing something.
Exactly. Imagine yourself in situations that require quick thinking and communication, like giving a presentation or negotiating a deal.
So it's like a mental rehearsal.
Precisely. You visualize yourself delivering your message clearly and confidently, handling tough questions with ease. It's like giving your brain a preview of success, which can really boost your confidence when the real situation comes along.
I like that, training your brain to handle those pressure situations. Okay, so visualization. Got it. Are there any other techniques?
Absolutely. One that's often overlooked is the power of storytelling.
Storytelling. I thought we were talking about thinking and communicating, not writing novels.
I hear you. But stories have a way of engaging people and making your message memorable. Imagine you're trying to explain a complex idea. If you can weave it into a narrative, a story that people can relate to, it'll be much more compelling.
So instead of just presenting dry facts, find a way to make it relatable through a story.
Exactly. Facts tell, but stories sell. They help you connect with people on an emotional level, making your message more impactful.
Oh,
Okay, so what else can we try to boost our thinking and communication skills?
okay, what else?
Another powerful yet often overlooked technique is simply expanding your knowledge base.
You're not saying I need to, like, memorize an entire encyclopedia, are you?
Haha, no, not at all. It's about being curious, cultivating a wide range of interests, and exposing yourself to different perspectives. The more you learn about the world, the more connections your brain can make, and the more agile you'll become in thinking on your feet.
So it's like building a mental library of information and experiences to draw from. The more diverse your library, the better equipped you'll be to handle any situation.
Precisely. And the more you learn, the more effectively you'll be able to communicate your ideas.
Okay, so we've covered active listening, putting ourselves in situations that require quick thinking, being clear and concise, pausing before we speak, visualization, storytelling, and expanding our knowledge base. That's a lot.
It is. But remember, it's not about trying to do everything at once. It's about finding the techniques that resonate with you and incorporating them into your daily life.
It's about choosing the right tools for the job.
Exactly. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. It takes time and practice to develop these skills. Be patient with yourself and celebrate those small wins along the way.
Great advice. We've covered a lot of ground exploring these fascinating techniques, but let's shift gears a bit and delve into the real-world impact of these skills. When we come back, we'll explore how thinking fast and communicating smarter can truly transform your life. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. We've been talking about these skills, thinking fast and communicating smarter, but let's really dive into how they can actually level up your life.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how this plays out in the real world.
Okay, let's start with your career. Imagine you're in a meeting and your boss asks for ideas on a tough project. Someone who can think fast and communicate clearly, they can really shine in that moment.
So it's not just about having good ideas, it's about being able to share them in a way that gets people excited.
Exactly. And that can lead to recognition, promotions, more opportunities. It's about becoming that go-to person who can solve problems and come up with innovative solutions.
And it's not just limited to traditional jobs, right? I mean,
Yeah.
these skills are probably super important for entrepreneurs, freelancers, anyone who's kind of blazing their own trail.
Oh, absolutely. You're constantly pitching ideas, persuading investors, dealing with unexpected challenges. Being able to think on your feet and communicate effectively can make all the difference.
Okay, so big wins for our careers. But what about our personal relationships? How can these skills help us connect better with the people we care about?
Well, think about it. How many misunderstandings happen because of poor communication? We say one thing, the other person hears something else, and boom, conflict.
Oh, yes. It's like we're speaking different languages sometimes.
Exactly. And smart communication can help bridge that gap. It's about expressing your thoughts and feelings clearly and respectfully, even when things get heated. And it's about truly listening to the other person, even when you don't agree with them.
That active listening piece is so important. Feeling heard and understood can really make or break a relationship.
Right. And, being able to think on your feet can be a lifesaver in those tricky situations that pop up in relationships. Let's say you and your partner are having an argument. Someone who can stay calm and think clearly under pressure is more likely to de-escalate the situation and find a solution.
It's about not letting your emotions completely take over.
Exactly. It's a balancing act between emotional intelligence and clear-headed thinking.
So we've got careers, relationships. What other areas of life can benefit from these skills?
I think these skills can really boost personal growth as well. Mastering fast thinking and smart communication can make you a more confident person.
In what way?
Well, when you know you can handle yourself in any situation, it gives you a sense of control. You start
Yeah.
to think, bring it on, I'm ready for anything. And that confidence can really impact every part of your life. It can make you more willing to take risks, pursue your passions, and just be yourself.
So it's like these skills give you the power to create the life you want.
Exactly. And think about things like public speaking or leadership roles. Being able to think fast and communicate effectively is crucial for making a real impact.
Inspiring others,
Yeah.
motivating them to take action.
Yes. It's about being that spark that ignites something in other people.
You know what I'm realizing is that these skills aren't just about getting ahead or winning arguments. They're about something much bigger. Connecting with people, building trust, making a positive impact.
You got it. It's about using your words and your mind to make a difference.
That's a powerful thought, something we can all aspire to. Before we wrap up, is there a final takeaway you want to leave our listeners with?
Let me see. Think back to a recent situation where you felt like you could have handled things better. Maybe you froze up in a meeting or a conversation went south because of a miscommunication. Now imagine how that situation could have gone differently if you had been able to think faster and communicate more effectively.
Oh, I like that. It's like a thought experiment, a way to learn from our past mistakes.
Exactly. Use the past to help you grow. Remember, even small changes in how you think and communicate can have a ripple effect, creating positive changes in your life.
So we're not just learning about thinking fast and communicating smarter. We're exploring how these skills can help us become better people.
Beautifully said.
This has been an incredibly insightful conversation, but I think it's time to start wrapping things up.
I agree. But before we do, let's give our listeners a few practical steps they can take to start incorporating these skills into their daily lives.
Great idea. We've talked about a lot of techniques, but how do we actually make them a part of our routine? Let's explore that when we come back for the final part of this deep dive. Stay tuned. Okay, welcome back. We've spent this deep dive exploring these really fascinating techniques for thinking faster and communicating smarter. But how do we actually, put them into practice in our everyday lives? It's easy to feel inspired, but actually turning that inspiration into action, that's the hard part.
You're absolutely right. It's about making these techniques habits, part of how you operate. But the good news is it doesn't have to be this huge, overwhelming change.
So no need to completely reinvent ourselves.
Not at all. Just start small. Take little steps consistently. One thing you can do today is to pay attention to that little voice in your head. You know what I mean? That inner critic?
Oh, yeah. The one that's always telling us we're not good enough.
Exactly. That voice has a huge impact on our confidence and our ability to think clearly when we're under pressure. If you're constantly putting yourself down, you're setting yourself up for failure.
So it's about recognizing those negative thoughts and replacing them with something more positive.
Exactly. Notice when you start thinking those negative thoughts and consciously replace them with something that empowers you. Tell yourself, I can do this. I'm going to give it my best shot.
It's like being our own cheerleader, even when we're feeling doubtful.
Exactly. Be your own best advocate. The more you practice positive self-talk, the more confident you'll become.
Okay, I love that. Switching from self-sabotage to self-empowerment. What else can we try?
This might surprise you. Ask more questions.
Really? How does asking questions help us think and communicate better?
Well, when you ask questions, you're actively engaging your mind, and you're looking for different perspectives. It's about being curious and open to learning new things.
So every conversation becomes a chance to learn something.
Precisely. The more you ask, the more information you gather, which helps you make better decisions and communicate more effectively. Plus, you know what? Asking questions makes you a better conversationalist.
Because people like it when you're genuinely interested in what they have to say.
Right. It's a simple way to connect with people and make your interactions more positive. Now, this one might seem counterintuitive. Embrace silence.
Silence. But we're talking about communication. Should we be encouraging people to speak up?
There's a time and a place for speaking up, but silence can be really powerful too. In a world that's so noisy and chaotic, silence can be a refuge for your mind. It gives you a chance to quiet your thoughts, tap into your intuition, and come up with more creative solutions.
It's like giving your brain some space to breathe.
Exactly. And it can actually make you a better communicator, too. When you're comfortable with silence, you don't feel the need to fill every gap in the conversation, which can make you a more thoughtful and impactful speaker.
It's about quality over quantity.
You got it. And finally, the most important piece of advice I can give you, practice, practice, practice.
Yeah, I figured you were going to say that.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we practice these skills without it feeling awkward or forced?
Look for opportunities to challenge yourself in situations that are low pressure. Strike up conversations with people you don't know. Join a public speaking group, volunteer to lead a project at work.
So step outside your comfort zone and give those thinking and communication muscles a workout.
Exactly. The more you practice, the better you'll get.
And it's not about being perfect, right? It's about progress.
Absolutely. Every time you push yourself a little further, you're learning and growing.
That's what makes it so exciting. It's a journey of constant improvement.
Well said. It's all about constantly learning and growing throughout our lives.
You know, this has been such an insightful conversation. We've really explored the power of thinking fast and communicating smarter. We've learned practical techniques and talked about how these skills can have a real impact on our lives and the world around us.
It's been a pleasure diving into these ideas with you.
And to our listeners out there, remember, the journey doesn't stop here. Keep learning, keep practicing, and keep pushing yourselves to be the best you can be. You have the power to think fast, communicate effectively, and make a positive difference in the world. Go out there and make it happen.